Verse 1. Do not be distraught over the apparent gains of the selfish, or envy those who persist in violating God's design of love. Verse 2. For they will soon wither like grass. Like flowers of the field, they will fade away. Verse 3. Trust in the Lord and live to love others. Be active in your community as a shepherd of God's kingdom of love. Verse 4. When you delight in the Lord, he will give you what your heart desires. Verse 5. Commit yourself to following God's plan, living in harmony with his designs. Trust him with how life turns out, and he will do what is best. Verse 6. He will renew your character into righteous love that shines brighter every day. Your decisions will radiate goodness like the noonday sun. Verse 7. Rest in the Lord and be patient for his plan to unfold. Don't be distraught when the selfish seem to succeed, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Verse 8. Don't let anger or resentment take root in your heart. Don't worry or ruminate. It only inflames selfishness. Verse 9. And selfish people will sever themselves from life, but those who trust in the Lord will inherit the earth. Verse 10. It won't be long, and the selfish will be no more. You will consider their place in the universe and realize they no longer exist. Verse 11. But the humble, who trust the Lord and love others, will inherit the earth and enjoy everlasting peace. Verse 12. The selfish plot against the unselfish and viciously attack them. Verse 13. But the Lord laughs at their foolishness, for he sees their end approaching. Verse 14. The selfish draw their knives and load their guns to kill the humble and those who refuse to defend themselves, to destroy those who live in harmony with God's designs. Verse 15. But their knives cut through their own hearts, and their guns will be broken. Verse 16. It is better to be unselfish and poor than to be selfish and rich. Verse 17. For the selfish are terminal and will lose all they have, but the unselfish receive life from the Lord. Verse 18. The Lord cares for the unselfish, and they inherit eternal life. Verse 19. In the time of trouble they will not be ashamed. In the days of spiritual famine they will be filled. Verse 20. But the selfish will perish. Those that oppose the Lord and his design will be like the fat of rams. Consumed in the fires of love, they will go up in smoke. Verse 21. The selfish take from others and do not return, but the unselfish give generously. Verse 22. Those blessed by the Lord will inherit the earth, but those who reject the blessing will be cut off. Verse 23. The Lord heals and restores those who follow his prescription for life. Verse 24. Even if they sleep in the grave, they will not be eternally lost, because the Lord holds on to them. Verse 25. Once I was young, But I have lived long and am now old. Yet I have never seen the unselfish abandoned by God, or their children seeking to feed only themselves. Verse 26, they always give generously and lend freely, and their children live to bless others. Verse 27, turn from selfishness and love other people, then you will live forever. Verse 28, for the Lord loves the unselfish, those who live right, and will not abandon those who faithfully follow him. He watches over them, but the children of selfishness will be cut off. Verse 29, the unselfish will inherit the earth and live upon it forever. Verse 30, those who live in harmony with God's designs speak wisdom. They tell how reality works, what is right and true. Verse 31, God's design protocol, law, is in their heart, and they don't sidestep it. Verse 32, the selfish spy on the unselfish, seeking to destroy them. Verse 33, but the Lord will not abandon them to the power of the selfish, or let their condemnation stand. Verse 34, wait patiently for the Lord, and live in harmony with his way. He will regenerate you to inherit the earth. You will see, the selfish will be no more. Verse 35, I once saw a selfish and cruel person who appeared to grow in influence and power, like a tree growing in good soil. Verse 36, but when I looked again, they died and were no more. Though I looked for them, they were nowhere to be found. Verse 37, take note of the person with mature godly character. Observe those who live right, for such living results in peace. Verse 38, but all who rebel against God's design will cease to exist. The future of the persistently selfish is destruction. Verse 39, the remedy that heals the godly comes from the Lord. He is their sanctuary in troubled times. Verse 40, the Lord helps them and rescues them. He delivers them from the wicked and cures them from their own selfishness because they trust in him.